to see the reactions of communities to the action of UNICEF. Those are the work, that kind of work is doing UNICEF, and that might be the objectives that is going to apply in every field of protection of the right of the child.
I have a feeling that the questioner did not seem to be too happy with the response. Is that so? And if so, why are you unhappy?
No, it's fine. It's a totally acceptable response. But my question was more, the Secretary General does have some budgetary influence in terms of his voice. And do you anticipate his voice carrying any weight in terms of shifting focus more to UNICEF or something to that regard?
No, not at all. Firstly, the budgetary process of the United Nations, the Secretary General prepares a budget, but it is discussed by member states, and it's the member states who either pass it or fail it or put limits on it or shift its priorities, etc. But that relates to the United Nations headquarters budget. UNICEF has its own budget, and it has its own governing board, and we have the president of the governing board sitting with us, and they get their own monies, and it's a very rich organization because they are very innovative in their budgetary procedures. They manage to get money from voluntary contributions, and they sell Christmas cards, for example, and get a lot of money from that. They put little boxes in all airports and say, you're leaving the country now, if you've got any leftover coins, just throw them in the box. And so they gather a lot of money like that through innovative methodology. UNICEF is, in my judgment at least, but we'll ask Ambassador Loayza-Barea, UNICEF is not an organization which is cash-strapped. It's one of the richer organizations because it manages to get money all the time, and even when there are cuts in budgets elsewhere, nobody cuts the budget of UNICEF because nobody wants to be accused of cutting money for children. Am I right, sir?
You're absolutely right. And as I told you before, because of the tangible results that UNICEF reached, that the main donor countries had allocated more money in voluntary contributions to target the specific programs in each of the continents of the world, mainly in Africa now. Most of the activity, most of the budgeting is concentrated to fight AIDS, for instance, the disease of AIDS, and other diseases as well, because the problem is quite huge in that. But because of the results that UNICEF is reaching, not UNICEF itself, but the action of UNICEF to the governments, to the local authorities, are providing us very good results. And that it's a good sign for donor countries that are contributing more money in order to fulfill all the programs that UNICEF is engaged. As Ambassador Kamal mentioned, UNICEF it's very innovative in order to have some funds, additional funds, just postcards. I remember when I was a kid that I used to buy the UNICEF cards for Christmas time, for instance. That was a wonderful idea. And what I see, as I told you, in this 4 months as a president, I saw that how UNICEF handled the budget is absolutely amazing. They look in every single detail. Every single detail. They are always looking for the ways of having more resources in order to allocate and provide funding to other programs. It's a sort of diversity of action. And the members of the executive board are very pleased with that. And the controls also are very severe, I can tell you. Because if you are giving your money, you have to know exactly how your money is spent. And I can tell you that the results of this action, of this control, have provided the UNICEF the opportunity to say, well, this is the money that we have from you, and that's how we spend it. And these are future plans, etc., etc. So I can tell you that as a fact that the UNICEF is providing with tangible results.
We're going to be shifting to Madison for 2 questions, but as I see the time, we will have time for 1 additional question from Lockhaven, Roger Williams, Montclair, Teaneck and Madison in a second round. And I'm just giving early warning for that. Over to Madison for 2 questions.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to start by saying this issue of the child labor is a big political wheel, as we stated before, and I agree with that strongly. I also think poverty is a big issue that plays into this, and but I also want to explore some of the other issues, specifically social issues that go into this, into child labor and child soldiering specifically. In a recent movie, Blood Diamond, there can be children seen in Africa with soldiering with AK-47s, killing people, and specifically with hunting for these diamonds, in fact, in labor. So my question basically would be, do you think, given the realm where these children in Africa grow up, do you think that they have much of an opportunity to kind of break away from this, I guess, this vicious cycle, you could call it, of their labor over there, given the fact of it all? I mean, their tribe, their family, seems to suck them into this specific field, other than obviously their political stand.
Good questions. Let's have a second question also.
Good morning, Ambassador Kamal. Sean Green, senior at Fairleigh Dickinson. Ambassador Loayza-Barea, I have a question relating child labor, as most people do. My question is, where does the primary responsibility for child labor lie? Does it lie with countries who do not enforce child labor laws or do not even have them? Does it lie with multinational corporations who export production to countries that utilize child labor? Or does it lie with consumers who buy products that have been made using child labor? Thank you.
Right, huge.
Well, those are very, very, very important questions, definitely. And I can answer in the following way as a representative from a very poor developing country. The root is poverty. That's the main point. And when poverty strikes your stomach, then you are forced to work. What we feel is that it's not a matter of rules. Most of the countries sign of the agreements of child labor situations, even the hardest work of labor. I think the commitment of each country is to gradually tackle the roots of the problem, that is poverty. So what is necessary to do about it is to reinforce families in order to be conscious of this situation. And secondly, to have community action in order to seek ways of cooperating to each other. Third, community action will lead to the local authorities in order to establish programs for develop other issues. And then in the national level to adopt policies that could not eradicate but gradually eliminate child labor. So if we don't tackle poverty, then the situation won't change. It will be absolutely the same. And in the other hand, when we talk about economic situation of each country, then